I am ready to start a new project today, and this one I'm really excited about. I'm standing inside our 8.5 by 24 enclosed trailer, and we're going to be turning this into our temporary workshop. So, right here is the beginning. It's just an empty shell. First thing I'm going to do is plan out electrical system, because we need to get electric in here so I can plug in my power tools, and then we'll just take it as it comes. So you see all these little strips on the wall, these little wooden trims? They're peeling off. It's a new trailer, but this wood's all warped and they just have little tiny staples in them. I'm gonna remove all those trim pieces. All they do is cover the cracks and try to pretty it up in here. I'm gonna get rid of them, at least temporarily, so I can really start fresh, and then we'll see what we have to work with. I just don't like stuff like that that's ready to fall off any minute. Boy, they put some atrocious gaps in here.
They did?
Yeah.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that.
No.
Were you?
No. I'm still gonna take it off.
Are you keeping these pieces of wood?
I don't know what I'm doing with them yet.
I don't know. Because we want to make it better.
We got all those strips off the wall, and we could see that they did a really sloppy job, which happens, but we can work with it. We're going to try to keep this project somewhat budget oriented, so I don't want to get carried away. We're going to try to save money, do what we can with basic materials that we can get from the hardware store. We went to the store, picked up a few supplies. I think I'm ready to start working. A couple of things we're going to do is cosmetic, so let's start with that. I really don't like how these screws at the top are angled and sticking out. They just don't look good. You could imagine that when they were assembling this trailer, they were screwing these in straight because it's right in front of them, and then they just start doing them at more and more of an angle because they're standing here doing this. So by the time they get to the top, the screws are going in at a good 30-degree angle, and it looks ridiculous with all the screw heads sticking out like that. I'm gonna take those out and put them in straight. I just want flat screws because we want to paint these walls, and it's gonna look ugly if we leave the screws all sticking out. There we go. Alright guys, we got all the screws fixed, and we're actually getting ready to paint. Ashley's doing some cleaning up over there. These are looking a lot better. Not sticking out. Much better. Now before we get to painting, I want to do one more job, and that's taking off this plywood and blocking out the wall behind it. These are hollow walls, so it's just a sheet of thin metal on the outside, and then the framing, and then this plywood on the inside. I'm going to be mounting an electrical receptacle on the outside of the trailer, a plug-in for the power that comes in. And I have nothing solid to mount it to, so that's what I'm basically doing, is putting solid blocking in the wall so I have something to hold my plug. Unfortunately, I missed putting that wood in. I made that 1-inch thick block of wood, and I put it right between these metal studs. I put the plywood back on the wall, and I put a bunch of screws into it to hold it in place. Now I'm ready to drill a big hole in the wall, which I hope I don't regret. Well guys, the deed is done. Here is the solid blocking in there. And now when we put our receptacle, which I'll show you guys soon, in there, I can screw it to that. And you see I got all these screws in here just holding that wood firm to this panel. So it's one solid wall, super strong. For some reason, there's giant, like, chunks in the paint, which is not ideal.
I can't stand mindless things like that.
Thank you. While the paint's drying, let's work on this. This is the electrical panel that I'm putting in the trailer. Now, I want to space it off the wall about 3/8 of an inch. There's some bumps back here and whatnot. So I'm going to make some washers, spacers. And I'm going to be drilling a hole right through the metal, and you'll see what that's for later. So now I'm going to line this hole up with that hole. Oh, you know what? I can't use a level. I can't use a level because the trailer isn't going to be level. Do you like how the floor came out, Maverick?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's a little bit splotchy, but it's a floor. And now, do you remember those boards I was painting? They're going to be going right here over the crack, and you'll see why we made them so big, but that's what I'm going to work on right now, is just getting our trim boards up, closing up the massive gap that they left, and then getting wiring. I think this is going to come together fast.
Yeah.
We'll try. I'm going to be attaching these furring strips to the ceiling. This went really smooth, a lot quicker than I expected. So, those are done, and now we're going to be covering the ceiling with this. Yeah.
Good enough. So at least we can get all this up, and then if we need more screws, we can get more. Right?
Yeah. Put this next to this one, like butt up to it. This may be a surprise to you, but we changed direction. Let me tell you, I didn't like how it was going. We started putting the bubble foil on the ceiling, and we realized that the spacing of these ceiling uprights were uneven. It was making it really hard to get that 4-foot wrap to line up properly. We were having all kinds of problems with it, and we decided to scrap that plan, start over, and we took down all the furring strips, and we got wider furring strips and put them, obviously, this way. I'm honestly thinking this is going to turn out so much better than the way we had it. So sometimes you just have to, be adaptable and not be afraid to undo the work that you've done. Because I know I have to change my plan very often. We screwed it just the same way. And we have wood every 2 feet. Up here was a little bit tricky, but we got it. Same install, screwing it on. I know it seems overkill to screw bubble foil, But I'm glad I did because I was able to unscrew it instead of ripping out staples. So, I don't know. It is what it is. Check this out. This came out so much better than doing it this way. It looks cleaner, less seams, and I'm happy with it. This is Reflectix insulation. It's basically a bubble wrap with foil on both sides. Now, we're not going to be heating or cooling this workshop, so we don't need a true insulation. What this acts as is a radiant barrier. So when the sun is beating on the roof and all that radiant heat is coming in, this is going to reflect it back and block it. And it's going to keep it a lot cooler in here in the summer. That's why we're doing this. Plus it looks cool. That's how we did it, screwed it up. We're going to do this side. The ceiling will be done. Then we'll keep on going with our trim work. We're going to be trimming out all around the perimeter of the ceiling, and that's why we're doing this now. So that's the update. The ceiling looks awesome. I'm so glad that we took the time to redo this, change the direction, and actually it looks a lot cleaner now. Well, soon we're going to try to get some better lighting in here, but you guys can get the concept. So now that we're done with that, we're going to go back to working on trim. We're going to get trim all around the ceiling, the uprights. There's actually a deceivingly a lot of trim in here. That should be all we need.
Hopefully. Oh, you were filming that? I was wondering why you got on the roof.
Okay, hold on, baby. I'm about to put something up, okay? It feels like we're finally making progress on this trim work. This is very slow, very tedious for just cosmetics, but you know, we want it to look good. So now that I got the top done, the middle done, we have to do baseboard. After the baseboard, we have some uprights to do over the cracks where the boards, the plywood comes together. You see that we're using these silver fasteners and we're leaving them exposed. We're doing that intentionally I'm screwing them very intentionally, 16-inch on centers, very neatly. Not only is it holding it to the wall, but it adds to the style of the workshop. I don't know, it just looks cool to see those silver fasteners on that brown wood. So part of the style, that's why we're showing them. I think it's gonna look like pretty cool. It looks like like leather work or something on the wall. I don't know, it's neat. Now on the upright pieces that we're going to be doing, I'm actually changing the screws and using these. All of the uprights are going to be screwed into the metal. These side pieces, they're only screwed into the plywood. I had to change screw and use a metal screw, and a metal screw is designed a little differently because it has a drilling tip. So the tip is kind of made like a mini drill bit, and it'll drill through the metal and make a hole for the threads to grab into. Now these are actually made for drywall, but they're gonna work good for the wood too. Horizontal pieces, I like those silver screws showing. On the uprights, I just decided to kind of blend them in a little more and do these. So I have some angled cut pieces of wood that hopefully clean up these weird corners. Check out how cool this is looking. I can't believe what a transformation just literally paint and trim makes. So that's all we've really done aside from the ceiling. Yeah, we put the bubble foil up, but just putting some better trim up really, I mean, it looks so cool in here. Now that all the trim work is done, I get to do the fun part, which is getting some outlets in here. I love to do wiring, so we have our electrical box installed. I just have to figure out where the outlets are going to be and run some conduit. This is turning into a fun but slow project. I can't believe how long it took me to do this. It looks so easy, but it took me hours and even days to get to this point because of all the delays and shopping and materials and weather. Man, slow. $14 1/4 to the back of the bend. Well guys, we did it. You can kind of see it wrapping all around the room, looking really good. Got it up over the ceiling. Came out perfect. Now originally I wanted to come out of this box and turn, and it does look like I could do that, but it was just a little too close for comfort. So I decided to come out of this one. That's why it goes this way and then this way. It's a little odd, but it was just too hard to bend it this close to the fitting. Hard to explain. But it goes up to a junction box, to another one, and then back down this side. I'm trying to keep the conduit as minimal as possible. There's tons of different ways you could run this, but I just want it to be really clean and efficient. I still have to put straps on the conduit to support it better, and I'll do that later. But right now, I think I'm gonna start pulling wire and just getting the wiring done. Now this isn't all of the outlets. Actually, I plan on putting in a couple more. I just can't yet because I'm not exactly sure where I want them. It's gonna depend on where a couple of things go in here. So here we have the power coming into the light switch and leaving to the light fixtures. And basically, I just have them coming up here, ready to join light fixtures too. I'm gonna keep working on the wiring. That's all there is to it. Pulling wires from the box, from the panel to the boxes. I gotta get my neutrals, and then I'm gonna start running a separate circuit for the outlets. Some people don't like it because I push my wires through the conduit instead of pulling it through with a fish. I actually have a fishing thing for pulling wire through conduit, but on short runs like this, it's honestly just quicker and easier to push it through. It started raining, but I'm still out here getting work done, trying to finish up all the wiring in this workshop. And it's actually been pretty tricky because not that the bends are hard or anything, but planning the layout is difficult. It's a blank space, it's an empty room. And I'm just trying to picture and imagine where things will be placed and where I may need to plug stuff in. Future tools, future ideas, I don't know. So I'm just trying to make sure I have all the outlets placed where I need them so I can do the wiring all at once and be done with it. I can always add on later, but I'd like to do whatever I can now, if possible. I was seeing how my air compressor would fit right there. I'm not crazy about the location, but it's probably the best location in the trailer. So I'm gonna put an outlet on the wall for that, just to make sure I can plug that in. I'm like way short. Let me see what I'm doing wrong here. Somehow I did this too short, so I have to rebend this. This part is too short, so I just need to make a new one. So we went out looking to see what kind of lights we wanted to put in here, and we decided to do 4-foot fluorescent light fixture conversions. We're actually going to be converting these over to run LED bulbs. And now I know that they sell all kinds of LED shop lights, just like this, already pre-made at the store for cheap cost. I looked at them and I just wasn't happy with any of them. All of the LED shop lights that they sell are kind of low quality. I really like a good quality light. So one of the things is the CRI rating of lights. Most of them are around 80. I do try to buy 95 CRI, 90 to 95 whenever possible. It's a wider spectrum of light. It has more red tones and it gives a more natural, realistic looking color when you see it. Also, a lot of people might not realize, but there's a thing called LED flicker, and when you do a lot of video, you can see it in the video, and it's really annoying sometimes, especially doing time lapses. And what it basically means is that a low quality LED light, it'll pulse, and you don't see it with your eyes, but the camera can pick it up. It can actually end up being like dark bands running through your video, pulsing of light when you're trying to do time lapses, and it's really ugly. To get the best of both worlds, I got the fluorescent light fixture for $25. I'll convert it over and I'll buy some LED bulbs that are better quality and just create my own LED shop light. Now, I don't have the bulbs right now, but I can still get the fixtures wired up and give you guys an idea of what this place is going to look like. Well, that's all there is to it. I guess just trying to get it lined up and put in. So I'm going to carry on with the rest. See if we can get these done quick before I run out of light again. Alright, just finished up installing the 4 lights. Now, this actually worked out really good. You guys remember, we put wood up the long way to attach the bubble ceiling to, and it made the perfect support to line up my lights on. Well guys, I'm going to keep on working. I'm going to finish up the wiring, get some conduit run between these light fixtures to the existing conduit. Hopefully get the outlets installed on all these boxes and just keep working. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on getting my power inlet coming in. First, remember I drilled this out and it kind of has a sharp metal edge. I was digging around in a box of stuff I had and I found this split loom tubing, and this is just it's called split loom, but it basically goes around wires to protect them, and it's a plastic tube with a slit down one side. So I'm going to actually use that around the metal so that I don't have that sharp edge inside the box. Push it over that. I could cut it to fit. I think I'm just going to overlap it and call it a day. There. So no more sharp edges in there. That looks good. Okay, so let me just talk about this really quickly. For the power coming into this mobile workshop, I'm going to be treating it like an RV or a boat. So that means we're going to be plugging it into a shore power or an RV hookup. I picked up this plug for the outside of the trailer. This is going to be screwed to the outside. Inside here, you plug in your power, and this is going to come right in here into the power box. This one is a little bit different than a standard RV hookup. It's a unique design called Smart Plug, and basically it's supposed to generate less heat and be a better connection. Since I'm running a lot of power tools and a lot of high draw things, I decided to invest the extra money and get something that's made for safety and high draw, and that's what these are. So basically, that big hole I put in the electrical box, this is going to be sticking into the back of it from the outside. I just have to wire them up straight into the panel. Let me just mark my neutral to be safe. And one last thing to do is install my grounding bar, if I can get it open. Now, since this is technically a sub panel, I'm going to separate the ground. We're going to separate the ground from the neutral, so I'm putting a separate ground bar in here, bonded to the box, isolated from the neutral. This will make sense to some people. And I'll just send my ground wire right over to that. Everything looks good, I guess. This neutral wire is a little bit short. I should have left that longer, but it looks like it'll clear everything. I want to leave room for breakers. I'm just trying to form these wires a little better so that there's not a lot of pressure on them and that they're sitting comfortably in their own spot without force on them. And now you can see why I had to do that from the outside, because this barely comes through the wall here. Now you might wonder why I have no ground wires in here, and that's because I'm actually using the system as a ground, so the conduit is the ground throughout the system, but we ground the box, which will hook to everything else. And I'll show you, if I put this on the ground bar in here, and I put it on any of the conduit, we got a connection. That means we are connected. It is grounded out. I think the electrical work is done 100%. We're going to clean up the trailer, and I think it's ready. I think it's ready to start putting the tools in. Well guys, this took a lot longer than I thought it would. But there it is. Looks like a regular old trailer from the outside. But inside, we have put together a simple, effective workshop. Not complete, but 95% I would say.
Hey, where's my flower?
Remember? Don't leave your hat.
We're gonna tour this from this end. We do have a door down there, but here's the ramp coming in. I love how this came out. It's clean, it's crisp, and it just looks really cool. I love the brown trim with the off-white walls. I know that we don't need to make a design statement in the workshop. This is just a place to work and get stuff done, but I really like it. It reminds me of actually it reminds me of a bedroom I used to have when I was years ago. And I put brown trim like this and white walls. Very similar because I was going for like an Asian theme and it worked really well with that. Anyway, back to reality. The bubble foil ceiling. It's bound to keep it cooler in here in the summer. I'm looking forward to seeing how it does. A lot of the systems in here are actually handy because I get to test it in a temporary environment before building an actual workshop, and maybe I'll take some of what I learned in here and apply it to the final build in the future. We have our 4 fluorescent fixtures. They are converted already, and I have bulbs on order. So as soon as the bulbs get here, I can pop them in, they're ready to go. Converting them over was easy. All I had to do was basically clip out the ballast, which is an electronic box in there, just cut it out, and wire the wires direct, just direct to the power lines. That's all you have to do. Different LED bulbs require different conversions, so I'm not going to show you guys how I did that. But it's so simple and it depends. There's different styles and you just got to wire it for the bulbs you're getting. I'll say that I'm super happy with how the conduit turned out. I love conduit. I love exposed electrical work and it looks awesome. This is the only part that bothers me because I think I could have bent it from here. When I measured it, it was like 5 inches exactly, and that's how much of a radius I need to make my turn. I was afraid that it wouldn't go into the connector properly. Probably could have done it. It's fine. It won't hurt anything. Everything else looks so clean and simple. We have our electrical panel down here. I tried to choose placements for things that wouldn't be in the way of my future plans. So I kind of have an idea of the layout of the room, and this just made sense. Even though it seems odd to have it so low and in that spot, it made sense for being out of the way of everything and a good plug-in on the outside, right on the front there. I have a light circuit. I have an outlet circuit right here. That's going to be the workbench. I have a separate outlet circuit for some power tools on either side here. I have a third outlet circuit in the back for something special. And this one. So 4 outlets, circuits. So 4 breakers for the outlets and then 1 for the lights. I didn't feel like moving my air compressor out because it's just a pain to lug around, but that will probably be staying pretty close to that spot, just as a place to store it, get it out of the house. Something I should mention is that when I was doing the electrical work, I ran all stranded wire because this is a trailer and maybe someday it's going to be out on the road bumping around. Stranded wire is supposed to be better for vibration, so I used all stranded copper. All the original systems we kept, so these are the original LED 12-volt lights in here. Those would work if we plugged it in outside to a trailer hookup. So everything is basically original. You guys know we left original walls. We just put new trim on it, and we used floor paint on the walls. We used floor paint on the floor. The paint we chose is because it's cheap. It's like $32 a gallon, and it's very durable. We didn't prime. We didn't worry about that. We just put 1 coat on, and we've been rough with it. We only let it dry basically overnight, and then we started working hard in here, and it's held up beautifully. The only spots where you can see like this, where it's chipping, is because there's silicone there. They use silicone on the seams, and the paint just doesn't stick to the silicone. That's just how it is. So I'm not worried about that because we're going to be making a mess in here anyway, but porch paint for the floor, So I don't mean to ramble on, I'm just trying to cover any important parts that you guys might have questions on, and that's that. I can't think of anything else worth saying. So I know it's essentially still just a trailer. We still have to add stuff that makes it a workshop, but that's going to be coming in another video. I'm going to put together a workbench with the shelves under it. I'm also going to be bringing a lot of tools in here, and hopefully packing this place as full as I can and getting the mess out of the house, and that's going to make everybody happy. I just wanted to really focus on and feature it while it was empty so you can see the work that happened here. I hope you guys enjoyed watching us put this together, and I hope you stay tuned to see it more complete. So for now, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.